Hello.
Hey, this is Warren.
Hi, Warren. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Thank you for taking the time out and speaking with me. So basically, would love to get a quick overview of your background, and just wanted to run a few questions by you.
Yeah, let me grab headphones. Give me 1 second. I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, definitely, no worries. Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Can you say what you said again? They were cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just saying, it would be very helpful to get your background, and then we can just dive into a few questions and just get your take on the industry, on the third-party finance industry.
Sure. So I started out of undergrad. I majored in economics and math. Went to Capital One, did their operations analytics program. I was there for about 3.5 years. Finished up as an AVP in their commercial banking strategy group in New York. From there, I went to Green Sky, which is a point-of-sale financing and underwriting company that went public earlier this year. I ran their ops strategy group for about a year, and then I ran the DC office for Instacart before going to Trilogy, which is what we're going to talk about today, and now Sonder, et cetera, et cetera. So my career has largely been taking operation strategy and analytics approaches to companies to take them from seed, Series A through Series C, kind of managing that growth and things like that, and kind of progressively higher operation-centric roles. While I was at Trilogy, I would basically head up various parts of the operation from, general operations management as like an RGM type person to strategy to outcomes. So I've touched most parts of that business as well.
Definitely makes sense. So I guess just to give you a quick background, so I work in the private equity team here at Peterson Partners, and right now we're looking at a company that mostly does that finances. So what they're doing is anytime people have to go to coding schools and whatever, a number of these guys have to take out loans. So we are one of the company we're looking at is one of the top providers of these external loan funds. And really what we're trying to understand is how big is the market itself, because as it stands, the company has shown exceptional growth year over year, but when you look at it in the larger, in the larger theme, the market itself seems fairly small, and for us to be able to really invest in the company and really be able to scale it, we need to see at least $100 million, in terms of its origination volume, actually. So that really is, the bulk of sort of what we wanted to get your confirmation on, also get your understanding on the market itself, the growth, the key players, and we've done some preliminary research here, and I don't think it's capable of the company we're particularly looking at, or any of the company in that space would have $100 million in origination by 2021 or so, according to the in-house models that we've built, but we'd love to get your take on it.
Sure. So I'm going to have to wax philosophical a little bit at the beginning, because I generally agree with what you're saying, but I want to kind of talk about why I think it's important and why I think that number is going. I do think they'll get to 100 million. But I actually think that there's a relationship that is particularly germane to this boot camp space. And I'm using boot camp as kind of a catch-all term that makes it a little bit different. So obviously I have some underwriting experience. I was in consumer credit for a long time.
Definitely.
The first thing I would say is that one thing I'm not clear on with these companies is how low does it go? When I say that, I'm sure you've seen these nano degrees that some companies offer. They're $400, to do a 3 or 4 day class online, and you have this made up term, a nano degree, and that's below a certificate, but less than a there's just a lot of stuff in this space, and I'd be willing to bet if you spent the amount of you spent a month or so looking into this, you could find a certificate that takes any number of days between 1 and 365. There are just so many offerings in this range. You have full-time boot camps that are 12 weeks. You have part-time boot camps that are 6 months. You have master's degrees that are part-time that are a year. Like, they're all kind of in this same, I'm going to call it the for-profit space, but does that make sense? Kind of what I'm saying is like, there's
absolutely. That's something I've come across as well. You've got companies like, you've got like the traditional boot camps that are costing upwards of $10,000 to $15,000, and then you have lots that are like, $25 or $50 subscription on a monthly basis, or one annual cost of like $500 or something, right? So definitely there's a lot of variety, but I'm assuming, the ones that really get you that job boost, or I guess allow you to be a programmer, is not something you're doing for $5 a month. It's more something closer to like $15,000, right?
Sure.
I haven't personally looked into programming, but like what are your thoughts there? I mean, is there a way to sort of distinguish? I mean, my target was more so like the ones that do like anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 range.
Right. So I think you'll never get. I don't think you'll never get reliable data on outcomes. And what outcomes mean in this context is like what happens to somebody that graduates. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, like, no boot camp wants to be honest about how many people become true software developers after going through their program. For a couple of reasons. One, it's like any other program, right? Like, the requirements for admission to Penn boot camp are not the same as the requirements of admission to go to Penn. So you have this huge, brand and all this other stuff. And, everyone's like, oh, he went to Penn. Well, not really. He went to a for-profit program that shares Penn's logo. So you're not going to have the same quality of outcomes as you would expect with some of those brands. In one case, that's number one. Number two, there are people that go to these programs that can pay the $10,000 out of pocket that, frankly, like, probably couldn't get a job doing some of the work that they're being trained to do simply because of their resume. So there are going to be people that, go into these programs and they're just high school graduates and they crush it. But there are also going to be people that are just high school graduates that don't really crush it, and they're now kind of in no man's land because they don't have a degree, so they can't get some of the more white-collar jobs. They aren't quite good enough to pass the really complicated coding tests. So all this is to say that, like, any number that somebody tells you, oh, X% of our graduates get jobs, they have extremely, extremely tight controls around what goes into the denominator of that number. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But like, so like, just forget anything I said before. But just wanted to get your understanding of, for someone that is looking at the space, right? For someone that is looking at this, from an investor point of view, wanting to invest in the space, that one of the leading companies that does loan origination, and to sort of be able to scale it and do the things we really want to be able to do, we need the origination to be at least $1 million. What are your thoughts
trouble
there?
With that?
Trouble with that, right? Yeah.
I think that's going to be tough. However, I do think this space is a little bit countercyclical in that if there's a downturn that hits the employment market, the demand for these boot camp loans is going to go up. But then you kind of self-selected, sort of like, if you need that to happen to hit 100 million in originations, like, you're basically self-selecting for like higher risk consumer debt. So you're basically saying, oh, if in a downturn they're going to do really well. Well, yeah, that's because more people are going to need that don't have 10 grand are going to need it to go to these programs to enter a job market, which we've already established is probably not doing so well. So that's the first thing. The second thing is in this space, there are like 4 different ways. And I think you can actually go on the General Assembly website and they lay this out. There are like 4 different ways to pay for it. So you're not even saying.
Sorry, what website did you mention again?
So I think General Assembly has a financing your education section. Yeah, and they have, let me pull it up here one second. Yeah, there are like 6 different ways to finance it. So
one of the big things that as well, but it was through course report, like self-financing, family, external loans, scholarship, boot camp, and employer sponsorship.
No, this is different. This is Catalyst. So GA has something called the Catalyst program. And if you qualify for it, you don't actually start paying General Assembly for your course until you have a job making over $40,000 a year. So that's some percentage of your originations are going to come, or some percentage of your students are going to pay that way. And then next on their list is